最近在台股盘中全指股的龙头台积电，大家都在讨论到底有没有拿下未来一些大厂商的订单。当然不止台积电，全球三大的晶圆代工厂，还有三星、Intel， 明年在14、16奈米各自会打下多少山头呢？今天关键对话，我们请来矽智财的大厂安谋来谈谈未来半导体的大趋势。
为了让手机一代比一代做得更薄，半导体在先进制程的火拼越来越白热化。台积电今年在20奈米才刚坐上霸主地位，紧接着三星明年在16奈米又要领先了。而身为最上游的矽智财大厂安谋，怎么看这样的竞争态势呢？关键时刻掌握关键对话，今天关键对话为您邀请到的是 ARM 的执行副总 Antonio Viana。Hello, Mr. Viana.
Hi, Ginger. Hi, everyone.
Advanced technology is a hot topic recently. As far as I know, from 28 nanometer to 20 nanometer took 4 years. But this year, 20 nanometer just start shipping. And next year, 16 nanometer occupy everyone's mind. Do you think the advanced technology evolves faster than ever? Why?
That's kind of the natural effect of kind of any business, really, but I think it's especially highlighted in the technology space is that, you know, as more and more innovation takes place and that innovation leads to cooler and cooler products, right, for all of us to go to the store and buy, yeah, if you don't stay with that trend, you can fall behind quite quickly. And that puts a lot of pressure on the entire industry to accelerate their technology, including foundries process technologies.
ARM collaborated with TSMC in 16 nanometer technology, and you plan to move forward to 16 nanometer plus technology at the end of this year. Can you tell us the significance of the case for both sides?
Well, TSMC has been a huge partner of ARM's, since the beginning. In the end of the day, our customers are going to have to choose, right? For the products that they want to create and they want to put out into the marketplace, they have to go through their due diligence and understanding how their chips would perform on a TSMC process or how their chips would perform on a Samsung process. So our focus, or any foundry for that matter, so our focus as a company is clearly to make certain that our IP is optimized on any process that's out there. And then in the end of the day, it's really up for our customers to decide which foundry process works best, and that's kind of where competition just takes over.
Many clients will skip 20 nanometers and jump straight to 16, 14 nanometer next year.
Possible. We see that all the time. It's not just relative to those processes in particular that you've mentioned. I mean, if you go back, we had customers that were at 90 nanometer, jumped 45 and went forward. It's all really dependent on the products that they're creating, the power envelopes that they require, the performance requirements, and then really the time to market windows that they're going after. I think all of those things kind of come into play. And then of course there's just the sheer economics of it, right, in terms of how much it costs to generate a chip on 20 nanometer versus 28 nanometer, or versus waiting for a later FinFET process. If you aren't first to market and you're, say, second or third to market, you have to have a very strong advantage to kind of overtake the entities that are first to market.
Do you think mobile makers will transfer to 16, 14 nanometer node next year? Will it be mainstream?
The mobile industry is a great example of an industry that is constantly pushing the foundries like the TSMCs and the Samsungs. And so I think there's just that natural forcing function that happens in those industries to try and get onto the advanced processes as fast as they possibly can, especially for the premium mobile markets. Because in the premium mobile markets, there's monstrous demand to drive more and more performance into, the form factor of a smartphone. Clearly that needs to happen at the lowest possible power, right? And so that function itself is what's driving a lot of, especially the high-end mobile players, to push the advanced process geometries.
And let's talk about China. ARM is doing great in China area, and Chinese government, they plan to foster their local semiconductor industry. They invest a great amount of money for IC companies or foundries. What is the impact for Taiwan?
I think what's unique for Taiwan is, of any country in the world, the one country that I believe has the best grasp on the entire value chain of the tech space, it's clearly Taiwan. From silicon development all the way through end consumer product distribution, Taiwan is the one country that I think has expertise across the board. I would challenge anybody to name a country that doesn't have that broad expertise that Taiwan has. Quite remarkable. And then you couple that with the fact that the one country that outside of China knows China best and has the most links into China, it's actually Taiwan, right? And so you couple those things together, I think all that growth that you're seeing in China is certainly to the benefit of Taiwan. The risks for Taiwan are similar to the risks that would exist for other countries, and that is, one thing that China has done is as it's grown, it's kind of created these small Chinese ecosystems that have started to develop. And so I think the risk is as those Chinese ecosystems grow and influence the global market, as you develop technology, as you develop products, whether you're European-based, North American-based, or Taiwanese-based, you have to be mindful of those Chinese ecosystems and the impact they're having on the broader market. If you try and design away from that a little bit, you potentially stand the risk of falling behind, mainly due to the pace at which China is driving the industry.
The next big thing is the Internet of Things, but so far we cannot see any killer application in IoT area. And Gartner also said IoT is an overhyped technology this year. Do you agree with that?
I can't disagree more with IoT being overhyped. I think the issue is the word Internet of Things. It's such a broad, vague phrase. I think a lot of people have trouble kind of grasping what it means, right? What is the Internet of Things, right? The way we look at it is the Internet of Things is a world where everything is connected and everything is generating some form of data, little data. And then that little data gets into the cloud and combined with all the other little data becomes big data. And then that big data has to get managed and then disseminated back to people like you and me for it to better our lives.
In your observation, which company, product, or segment will shine first?
We see wearables as merely just the tip of the iceberg. Well, I think wearables is clearly one piece that you're seeing in the industry today, right? The average consumer can go into the store and they see Fitbit devices and Nike Fuel bands and that sort of thing in the market. A watch is yet another use case that you see, right, in terms of giving people more options to gather more data. I mean, one thing I personally like I happen to be wearing a Pebble watch. One thing I absolutely love about this watch is if somebody were to text me right now, I do have the ability just kind of to glance at my watch and know that somebody texted me rather than reaching for my phone. To be honest with you, I also have the ESPN app on there so I can look at sports scores and stuff like that on there as well. By saying, I think if the tech industry has taught you anything, there are spikes and then things fall off. But then as things fall off, new applications come forward. And things fall off and new applications come forward. So, when you think about IoT being an environment where everything is connected, I don't see that really tapering off. I see us continuing on in a world in which we find more and more ways to get things connected.
Thank you, Mr. Riona. 在终端市场不断有新装置要推出的压力之下，先进制程将比过去面对更高压的速度要求。而在这样的趋势之下，物联网的装置将会多如繁星，就看谁先冒出头。